Alright everyone, Beijing Biden claims that we totally retaliated for those terrorist attacks on the Kabul airport the other day. We struck and killed a couple of ISIS planners. So they killed 13 US soldiers and upwards of 70 Afghan civilians. We killed 2 people. This is the retaliation. By the way, do I trust that this actually happened and that we didn't just bomb an empty building on the outskirts of Kabul and claim that we killed a couple of ISIS planners? No. I don't trust Biden at his word for goddamn anything because he's already proven capable of lying about these sort of situations. He told the entire nation not that long before the Taliban entered Kabul, "Oh, it's very unlikely that the Taliban will be able to rule the whole country." That's very, very unlikely. Don't worry. We don't have a lot of intel in the region, but I'm certain of that one. Well, of course he was proven wrong. He's never asked about that by the legacy media, by the way. And for the first 24 hours, they're like, "Hey, Biden told us this couldn't happen." Then they totally let it go. Now they're softballing him about what flavor of ice cream he's going to have to celebrate his great victory over ISIS by killing 2 people. I don't even believe it happened. I want to know their names. I also want to know why Joe Biden didn't strike them before the airport was hit by terrorist attacks, since clearly these ISIS planners, okay, these are top-level guys. They're involved with planning logistics. Why didn't you strike them before? Then Biden comes out and says, right, "Well, this isn't the end-all be-all. There'll be more strikes. We're going to retaliate harder. I'm going to take you behind the woodshed and do push-up contest with ISIS." Okay, the problem is we're 24 hours away from the final withdrawal deadline. You're not going to have any troops in the country. The Kabul airport gets overrun by the Taliban, and etc., etc. If you continue to operate in the country and do airstrikes, drone strikes, whatever, is that not technically just a continuation of the same fucking war? So you've withdrawn the troops. Great. The war continues. The Afghan war won't have reached its end. We should have left in May. We should have stuck to the agreement. The Afghan government would not have fallen at this point if we had done that, because the Taliban would not have had the propaganda necessary to undermine public trust in the Afghan government, which was already mediocre anyway. What happened is that when we ignored the deal, we made the Afghan government look weak. Weakness does not get rewarded in third world countries like it does in the first world. Here, it's okay to have a president who's a vegetable with dementia. It's okay if Biden is clearly demented, incompetent, doesn't know what he's doing, and is surrounded by yes men and cronies. Well, then he doesn't get knocked off because there's no Taliban operative in the U.S. But in that country, with low stability to begin with, where the Taliban already had 20-25% of the country kind of under its control, that's a problem. Now, first and foremost, if you're watching this video on YouTube, links down below in a pinned comment. Keep in mind, on those 4 sites I make 2 exclusive videos a day that I do not do on YouTube. That's because of verboten content, verboten opinions about content, or just general algorithmic overflow. YouTube no longer rewards workhorses like these other sites do. They reward people that make like 1 video a day or less. And are more busy like making it flashy and editing it with jump cuts and shit, as opposed to actually being intelligent enough to talk for 5 to 10 minutes unscripted. They no longer reward talent anymore. They reward editing talent, which anyone can do with a smartphone. I could probably figure it out, and I'm a smartphone Luddite. Now, link in the description, of course. Can we really take Biden's claims seriously? Based on all the other lies that he's told, not just regarding foreign policy, I don't. I can't bring myself to believe that there was even a goddamn strike. If there was a strike, I can't believe myself to believe that anyone other than maybe some orphans or other people that the U.S. doesn't care about were killed in it. Oh, well, there's a couple dead adults in there. They must have been ISIS members. You know, because 75% of the drone strike casualties from this war haven't been civilians. Oh, wait, that's right. There was a Pentagon report a couple years ago saying that. Our accuracy has definitely improved. This time we're certain that we killed the planners that were responsible for attacking the airport. Why weren't they dead long ago? Supposedly, according to Biden, he's mostly right on this. This isn't actually a lie. The Taliban and ISIS don't like each other. Why did you not inform the Taliban of the location of these ISIS members? They're trying to lock down Kabul under their control. They would have gone in and gunned them down. You could have dissuaded this attack from happening, just to be clear. You could have killed these people beforehand because you clearly know where they are and who they are. You can't, if you have a drone strike, so there's no one, on the ground to confirm who was killed. You're claiming that they were ISIS planners. You claim you know who they are because you're saying, well, they're high-level ISIS planners. Okay, you knew who they were. You had to have known where they were because otherwise you wouldn't be able to confirm their deaths. Why didn't this get done before? You know, this is, by the way, these are questions that'll go above the head of Joe Biden, so they won't be asked by the legacy media. The legacy media is too stupid to think of this sort of strategic finesse. They're not going to ask him probably about this. He won't get any questions. They won't say, hey, you know, who was killed? And Biden, if he does trot out the names, there'll be some bullshit generic names anyway, so they won't even know who it was. And then we'll see. The funny thing is they'll claim that they killed some mid-level commander, and then he'll come out on TV next day and chuckling at Biden or something. This has been a disaster from start to finish. I don't trust Biden's word for anything at this point because he lies almost every time he opens his fucking goddamn mouth. He and Psaki and all the others don't even answer press questions even when they're in good faith softballs. Why the hell would I take the administration seriously about anything that it claims with regards to its operations against ISIS? And isn't it inept not to have done this beforehand? You say you're working with the Taliban, but yet you're not telling the Taliban, hey, by the way, there's this group over here actively planning to attack the airport. You realize you might take casualties too. You might want to do something about that. True, U.S. troops can't do anything outside of the general region of the airport, but drones could have. You could have done the strike weeks ago. You obviously knew this planning was going on, or you wouldn't have known who to strike. But see, that's the problem. They just hit an empty building or an orphanage or something and then claimed ISIS. That's what they'll do. The Taliban, which otherwise would probably go check the rubble and be able to tell people it's bullshit, they're not going to do that because they're too busy sucking up for diplomatic relations and seeing what they can get in terms of money when there are inevitably hostages left behind that we don't evacuate out quickly enough. This is a disaster. Yeah, it's worse. It is literally Biden's Katrina at this point. It's worse than 9/11 from a polling standpoint when you really think about it. When W had that happen, his polls shot up. Katrina happened, that's when the plug was pulled on his presidency. For the last 2 years, of course, he was thankfully a lame duck and couldn't do much. My hope is that it turns Biden into a lame duck and he has to resign. No, I don't care if Kamala ascends to that position. Because she'd be a lame duck from day one. Even the Democrats don't fucking like her because she's such a goofball. Anyway, I argue that we can't trust Joe Biden when he says this. I mean, as an intelligent individual, as someone who's rational, I realize he's been lying the whole time anyway. Why would I consider this realistic? It fits in too well because he's like, well, man, I'm a strong, empowered leader, and I've got all the toys. I'm going to be just as warmongering as Trump. I'm going to bomb everyone. And then all of a sudden, you know, supposedly the ISIS planners were killed. Oh, how well that fits in with the timeline. But guess what? For lemming America, led by the legacy media that won't ask questions about it, they'll just take it to the bank that it happened, and they'll say, oh, thank goodness. See, Joe's not incompetent. Joe's not a softy that doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's a tough guy. We've got a tough president who's willing to get tough about ISIS. No, he's not. He has done nothing right in the entire course of his withdrawal, and it'll keep on being that way. Now he's openly telling people, oh yeah, there'll probably be another major attack there in the next 24, 36 hours. Well, that's reassuring. I'm sure that the soldiers that are minding the gates are really happy about that fact. The soldiers that are stationed inside the airport are happy right now because they're like, oh, thank God we're not next to the fucking gate. Oh shit, Joe, you pulled gate duty tonight? Bye. You know, you might want to leave your money with me because, you know, it might get shredded otherwise. I promise not to take more than 5% as an insurance policy. That's about all. Oh, and leave me your pepperoni pizza, MRE, by the way. That's about all. Peace out.